Hello and welcome. Welcome to the first in a series of 3 mentor collaborations and conversations. It's truly an honor to have you here with us. Collectively, we are guides and conveners of a global movement that maximizes the power of travel to positively transform how we live our lives, how we live with others, and how we live together on this planet. This is, like I said, the first of these conversations. It's called A Call to Adventure, Orienting Ourselves Towards the Transformational Travel Movement. And we're all here together because we do believe in transformation. We believe that it's possible, and we believe that it happens from the inside out. That's why we talk about that inner journey, that it's more important really than the outer journey of where we're going. And we believe that it's challenging. It's definitely not easy to embark on that inner journey, to have the courage to take those first steps. But all in all, we believe it's completely worth it. For few other forces have such great potential for personal and planetary growth, to transcend the divisions within each of us internally and among us, cultural divisions, political divisions, religious divisions, socioeconomic divisions, just to name a few. And so really, it is truly, like I keep saying, an honor that you have joined us. It's an honor to be with you here today. And thank you. Thank you from each and every one of us at the Transformational Travel Council. And I wish we were together sharing a cup of tea, but instead we have this beautiful photo. So I offer you symbolically a gesture of hospitality and welcome. You are a visionary group of world leaders from all over the world, at least 6 continents and 20 countries, with a minimum of 12 languages spoken. I just made a rough estimate. You come from all sides of the travel industry. You are guides and operators, innkeepers and designers of experiences. And we're really excited to get to know you and for you to get to know each other. For some of you, this transformational travel conversation is fairly new. And for others, you've been consciously pursuing these themes and philosophies for years, if not decades. And so with such a range in the mentor body, we ask you for grace and understanding as we attempt to meet each of you where you are. And so we are going to be thorough and also open, knowing that each one of you has so much to contribute. And in an effort to harness the conversation and make the most of our time together, we are going to attempt to establish some common language and common tools that we can share to better leverage our collective wisdom. And so to that end of starting to get to know one another, I invite you to pause this video and to take a moment to introduce yourself in the Facebook Mastermind group. It's called TTC Mastermind. And for your first introduction, please share your name, where you are right now. I know you travel a lot, most likely, so we're super curious where that has taken you today, and also where your business is based, what realm of the world you're based in. And also it could be that you're based somewhere. For example, I know a friend who's a mentor and she's based in Washington, D.C., but she does work mainly in India and Nepal. So even though it's not listed here on the slide, if you could also share, where your work takes you. One aspect of travel that deeply connects you with the Transformational Travel Council, like what inspired you to be here with us today? And one thing that you're grateful for at this moment, just so we can get a little bit more personal. And so I'll share mine, which is that after 15 months of being a nomad, I am now rooted in Carlsbad, California, and I'm really glad to be near the beach and have this as my home. So that's what I'm grateful for. My name is Chloe, and I am one of the people behind these conversations that we're facilitating. I am serving as the curriculum development manager, as an ambassador for the Transformational Travel Council. And I came to this work in answering the call to create a curriculum, an online course. I think it's the world's first online course regarding transformational travel, and it's called the Transformational Travel Program. It's 2 months to facilitate anyone, anywhere in the world, in creating their own transformative experiences through travel, and really honestly living a life of adventure wherever they are, whether it's in their backyard or super far afield. I really want to make travel and adventure and that courageousness and openness that we can discover on the road available to everybody, regardless of their financial means or their physical abilities. So I had the privilege to get a little bit of press last December, and that's how Jake found me, and we started the conversation from there. Eric Rupp is the Chief Experience Officer for the Transformational Travel Council and one of the 4 founding members. He is also the author of the Transformational Travel Journal, and he's dedicated to actualizing the enormous potential that travel has to be a force for positive change in the world. Yay. Eric, we're so glad that you're a part of this. Eric and Jake have done a lot of work together with me behind the scenes. Their face is not here on the recording, but that certainly doesn't mean they haven't been deeply involved. Jake, as you know, our fearless leader, the CEO of Transformational Travel Council, and he's here because of his deep appreciation for the power of travel and its ability to incite change by breaking down the walls within and between us. So I'm sure you hear some of yourself in each one of our shares, and we're excited to get to know you personally as the months unfold. So you may be wondering, okay, why the mentor program? And the TTC wants to bring together the true practitioners of this transformational travel movement from around the globe, the sages, the gurus, and those aspiring to be teachers in this field, and to bond us under one shared roof where we can share, learn, stretch, and grow in ways that foster personal transformation through travel. The power of each one of us, because it really happens one person at a time. And as we do that, we collectively pave the road of change to systemic change around the world. So that's why the program. And the intentions behind the program are to share the research that the TTC has done, the knowledge and the tools and the resources with you, and then invite each of you to share that with us so that we have more resources together. And like I mentioned earlier, that this is an emerging field, and so we'll be creating a common language. We'll be finding our voice as a community, and those benefits will echo across the whole travel space. And of course, this will drive change in the industry generally and raise awareness in the market. So more and more people will be called to participate in this type of travel so that we can have a more equitable and ecologically friendly and vibrant world. So the benefits that you have in being the inaugural class of mentors is that you're an early adopter, you're having the brand recognition of the Transformational Travel Council and movement. One of the mentors shared with me that because her name for her company is so similar to the TTC, that people say, oh, you were written up in Forbes. And I think personally she wasn't written up in Forbes, but it's just great to have that, recognition across the industry so that people are starting to hear this language. And then when you share with them what you're up to, they associate you with that bigger movement. We're collectively defining this field and this language that we're using to speak about it. And together we comprise a strong professional network. So by joining together and by joining as a mentor, you have access to that network. It's also an opportunity to create and generate leads. As more travelers are attracted, they come to the TTC website as one of their first stops along their journey. And so they can connect with each of you through that website. And we can share ideas and best practices. And then we'll be developing ongoing education, both on and offline. And in the future, we will soon have an annual gathering where we can actually meet in person, which I know we're all very excited about. So just to set some expectations, we are developing this in real time along with you. So being part of the pilot program is a great privilege and opportunity. It also has some challenges with it. You know, we haven't done this before, so there may be a few bumps along the way, but really the opportunity is for you to help us shape it into something that is sustainable and becomes even more excellent in the future. And we also wanted to honor that your wisdom and experience, especially if you're from other cultural backgrounds, is super valuable to the TTC and to the mentor program. Most of us in the TTC body right now come from a Western and Caucasian middle class perspective, and we want to emphasize that that's not the only perspective, and that we really value and respect the input from lots of cultural perspectives. And we really don't want this movement to be about only one way of seeing the world or one background. So the more diversity, the better. And our conversations will be organized into 3 sessions. This first one is answering the call and orienting towards transformational travel. We're talking about, you know, what the mentor program is, why transformational travel matters, how you can define your story in a new way using some of the tools for travelers. And then in the next conversation, we'll be focusing on the adventure aspect, actually going on the trip or going on a journey and exploring a holistic approach to better assisting the traveler who's interested in transformation. So we'll be doing a deeper dive into the tools that we introduced today in session 2. And then finally, the return, bringing the practice home. And this will be after we've got to know each other better, both in the Facebook mastermind group, as well as through interviews that we're planning to host with pairs of mentors, 2 at a time, and we plan to interview each and every one of you as one of these pairs of conversations. And so through those conversations and those interviews, which will be recorded and shared among the whole mentor body, you'll be getting to know each other a lot better. And then all of your ideas and challenges and best practices, things you're already doing that are working well, and the areas in which you're struggling, they will be brought to the surface and brought to the forefront of our conversations. So that will, session 3 will almost be more of a sort of like workshop in grappling with everything that you're facing in your life and in your business. And then Jake will also share about his visions and the collective visions for the future of the Transformational Travel Council. And we'll talk about how we can stay connected after this intensive 3-month portion of our time together. So you're here with us, you answered the call, you answered the knock from the universe that said, hey, get involved. Change this world of travel for the better. And it's a good thing that you're here, and you've even decided to make it part of your profession, not just an avocation or a passion, but something that you're actually working at professionally. And so there's a large and growing market for transformational travel. So that really validates your choice. If you needed any encouragement, transformation is actually seen as the top motivation for adventure travelers, according to the ATTA, which stands for the Adventure Travel Trade Association. In their 2017 study, they found that people define transformation as personal growth and challenge, accomplishment and achievement, and finding an opportunity for gratitude and mindfulness. And by targeting that top motivation, you're also getting access to these 4 other additional motivations for adventure traveler, which are expanding one's worldview, learning something new, spending time in nature, and improving mental health. And the travel industry is growing with or without us. You can see in the chart on the left, there's pretty steep increase projected over the next 10 years. So why not collectively take advantage of this opportunity and inspire a movement towards intentionality, respectfulness, and awareness? And if not, we may destroy the very thing that we seek to experience, as travel is becoming much more of a commodity in the world, where it's just all about checking the box on your bucket list and posting your pictures on Instagram. If someone doesn't take action to bring it back to that deep inner journey of profundity, where we seek the way of wisdom and the path of awareness, we definitely risk a lot, especially in this time of great cultural, economic, and political change in the world. This consciousness is essential. And just like money, travel amplifies who we already are. It doesn't actually change us. It just reveals and magnifies, like the quote says, travel makes a wise man better and a fool worse. So we're glad that you're here to support us in making a difference globally. And now I'm going to share a small bit of my story in a way that is using some of the common language and the process that we'll be asking you eventually to go through for yourself and your own story, and then also to assist travelers in going through. So sometimes in journeys, we don't have a chance to prepare and things kind of catch us off guard. But in any case, we're inspired to disconnect from something that is keeping us from growing. We may not be even aware of the voice inside of us that's telling us to take a break and to change our environment or perspective. But before we know it, we are off on a trail somewhere, looking at this vast open space beyond. For me, it was kind of this precursor to a bigger journey that I didn't realize until recently was something that had happened. So I was in Iceland in 2017, and I actually thought it was one of my worst trips, not because of Iceland, but because of my poor planning. And I had to deal with a lot of disappointment in myself and self-criticism. I was like, how could I have messed up? I'm supposed to be like an expert at traveling. And so I had to disconnect from that disappointment that was really holding me back. And at the time, I was actually enrolled in a course on how to create courses. Very meta, I know. And I had a conference call from my Airbnb in Iceland with my cohort who was spread out around the world and, based in the California area. And so we were giving suggestions and getting feedback. We were sharing our ideas for the courses that we were going to create. And I had this long list of ideas. And maybe the last one was like, I could create a course on travel and how to have spiritual growth experiences while, living out your travel dreams. And I thought that that was not one of my best ideas. But through the group's feedback, they said, whoa, Chloe, you really light up when you talk about travel. And so what, just started out as me being open to listening to their feedback, it turned into the seed that then, has really changed the course of my life. Because little did I know, just a few months later, I would be quitting my full-time job as an urban planner and embarking on creating this course and becoming a nomad. And, all of that has led me to being right here with you today in this conversation. And so I want to say that sometimes our inner voice doesn't show up as coming from us. it may be reflected from others or may be reflected in nature. But it's really that sort of universal consciousness that's collectively supporting each of us in pointing the way towards our greatest truth and our greatest contribution. So each of us has our own story, and we're really excited to hear yours. So after, answering the call, disconnecting from what is not serving us in our highest good, reconnecting with that voice of wisdom or collective oneness and universal consciousness, that's part of embarking on the adventure. And for all of us here, it wasn't just an adventure, it's now turned into a venture, like a business venture. And that's an even bigger unknown, like trusting the universe to, take care of us and support us financially, and that the things that we want to offer the world are actually of financial value, and that we can enter into this economic exchange. And, for Jake and Eric and others, their action that was inspired by their adventure, connecting with their inner guidance, was to create the Transformational Travel Council, which was a big unknown for them as well. And out of that also came the Transformational Travel Journal, which is soon to be a book that can support you and your clients on their journeys. The Transformational Travel Program, like I talked about, the course that I created, and this mentor program of which you are a part. These are just a few of the things, of the actions, that we took as we reflected on everything we had learned on our adventures. We thought about it, and then we honored that learning, and we integrated that learning into action. And as you know, in your own life, this isn't like a once and done thing where it's like, okay, I'm done for the rest of my life. It's a cycle that starts again once it's completed. And so collectively, our next adventure is to gain the strength of this council, of you, the mentor body, and of travelers all around the world to grow this movement. And to that end, the TTC is not a think tank per se, it's an action tank at the intersection of psychology, spirituality, and anthropology. And so we're really eager to get to know all the actions that you've taken, the research you've done, and how you've implemented this into your life and work. And while we do keep talking about this group and this body and our collective, we know that it all happens one person at a time. And each person has a huge ripple effect in their community. And it's kind of like that, like domino impact of like one person leading to another person, leading to another person. And then collectively we have a global awakening. And that is the vision of the Transformational Travel Council, is to continue to catalyze and support that awakening. And the council's vision is that together as a community of inspired, enlightened, and purposeful travelers and travel professionals, to harness the power of travel as a positive force for all people, places, and the entire planet. So like I think we've said 1,000 different ways, we aim to build a strong community of travelers and travel professionals in search of this transformation. And together we have a global reach for positive change. And really, it's a collaboration. We can't do this without you. And so thank you for joining us. And we hope that you continue to be involved for years to come. But we all got here somehow, without each other, without this community. And so who knows, like, where we can get to together. The possibilities are just beginning to emerge and will continue to expand. And the whole is definitely greater than the sum of its parts. So the sky is the limit. To assist us in making this big difference together, the council wants to propose 2 primary tools. We're just introducing them today, and we'll dive deeper in our next conversation. The path, it's a process. It's a tool for understanding the scope of our journeys and consciously navigating them to their fullest potential. And it starts with preparation. especially when we can become conscious that we're about to embark on a journey, we have more opportunity to prepare and to set intentions. Sometimes, spontaneous journeys may catch us off guard, and we may not have fully prepared, and that's okay too. And then inside of the adventure, we, face trials and challenges, and we go through multiple iterations of like disconnecting and reconnecting and finding our way again. And then the thinking is all about reflecting, processing, taking time and quietness and silence to let things digest and absorb. And from that grounded and integrated place, we are able to take inspired action and honor everything that we've learned along the way. And then, of course, start the whole process again. And then to complement the path, which is the process, we have this persona, which is a way of embodying certain qualities and characteristics as human beings. And so the acronym is HERO, but of course, it also applies to heroines. And so the H stands for being humble, the E for being engaged, the R for being resilient, and the O for being open. And you've probably noticed either in your own journeys, times when you were embodying these characteristics and, what opened up for you, maybe times where you weren't, and, where you faced things that were rough and bumps and rocks along the way. And you've also probably noticed as a professional in your clients, both examples of people having these qualities and people not having these qualities. So we welcome both, positive and, like counter examples as well as ways that we can learn and grow together. We'll be asking you to share in the Facebook mastermind group using both of these tools very soon. And so this gets to you. We've talked a lot about us, and I really want to learn about you. So to prepare for session 2, where we're diving more deeply into the path and the hero, we would love for you to reflect on and share in the Facebook mastermind group using this framework of the path, the preparation, the adventure, the thinking, and the honoring. And share a recent story of yours, a recent journey that culminated perhaps in finding the Transformational Travel Council and choosing to become a mentor and joining us here. How did you prepare? What did you need to disconnect from to embark on this current business and travel endeavor? During the adventure, what have you reconnected with as you've launched and are running your business? And thinking about the whole process that you've been through, what are some new understandings and reflections that you would like to share with us? How are you honoring your journey as you take action in creating what's next? So please hop into the Facebook mastermind group ASAP, at least within the next week, and share your story using that as a framework for organizing it. And then just a little prelude to give you a hint of what's coming up between sessions 2 and 3, after we do a deep dive into those 2 tools. We'd love for you to share after the next slideshow and conversation from the hero perspective, looking at your character, your identity, your humanness, and how it's been shaped. So if you can start to notice where humility, engagement, resiliency, and openness are showing up in your life, in your work, in the lives of your clients as well. And this is where I mentioned counterexamples are most welcome. Sometimes we learn the most from when we see someone else who's like, oh, what not to do. Or when we have that ourselves, we're like, okay, yeah, I can see like 10 years ago when I went on that journey, I was not being humble. And, here's the impact, but here's what I learned. And if you would like extra involvement, please share your biggest challenge and opportunity in the group and with your mentor companion, who hopefully you've already been set up with. If not, if you're not in the Facebook mastermind group, If you haven't received an email about who your mentor companion is, just reach out and we will fix that right away. The mentor companion is intended to be a colleague that you can walk through this conversation with and dive into much deeper one-on-one personal conversations. So this is designed to have multiple levels of engagement. So there's the Facebook mastermind group, there's the interviews that we'll be doing with pairs of you so that you can get to know each other and share your stories in a more public and recorded way. And then there's that more intimate level with your mentor companion. And we want to offer special thanks and acknowledgement to Tanner Colton of Travel Life Adventures. He's been a super big help in this conversation and making sure that it's meaningful and relevant to mentors. It was really helpful to have his perspective as a mentor, and he gave a lot of time into helping us refine this slideshow. And so you'll be meeting him very soon. He'll be involved in the next conversations. He seeks to honor the gifts he has been given to help others find deep understanding of themselves and the world around them. He believes that communities hold the key to positive change through travel. So thank you, Tanner. A big shout out to you. And thank you to each and every one of you for dedicating this time with us. We want to remind you that the ways to get involved are to introduce yourself in the Facebook Mastermind group, to share a recent story of your transformational travel journey using the framework of PATH, and to start noticing in your life where the attributes of being a heroine and hero are visible in your life and your experience and the lives of your clients and community. And stay tuned for interviews with each of you done in pairs coming up very soon. And yeah, I think that's all for now, but the next conversation will be released in mid-June. So until then, have an amazing month and thank you so much.